Welcome everyone to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
I'm Specialist David Erskine.
And I'm Sergeant Tim Andrews.
And this is the first time in a very long time that we've all been on the podcast together. So
yeah, it's been maybe since the first of the year.
I feel like you've been avoiding us.
Yeah, I haven't been on in a while, to say the least. So yeah, headed into the end of the year, doing I guess a little bit of a wrap up of 2020, and then looking forward to 2021.
Yeah, we know that you're ready, but
Yeah.
the people watching and listening have no idea. So
Yeah.
would you kind of like explain what's going on with you and why you haven't been around and all that kind of fun stuff?
Yeah, I guess update them on what I got going on. So yeah, I'm retiring. I'm headed out actually before the end of 2020. I'll be out. So depending on when this goes out, I might already be out or not. But so yeah, I'm retiring, and then I'm retiring from the federal technician side of things too. So I'm moving on here sometime in the next few months or so.
And so, you definitely make sure you remind us every day.
Yeah. I keep y'all informed on that. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be around for many more podcasts or whatever. I mean, might do one in civilian clothes. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Get the goatee,
the facial hair, all that kind of stuff going on. So yeah, it's been an eventful year for everybody, and then of course for just me on a personal level, getting ready to retire and getting all that stuff straightened out and ready to go. So yeah, so that's where we're at so far.
Yeah, this year has definitely been crazy with COVID, and like I don't know, I just feel like this year went by so fast, but like we were busy, but then it feels like we weren't, because we weren't pushing out as much content because of everything going on and not a lot of training and all that kind of fun stuff. But it's just weird to think that like we're going into a new year already. It's like, where did this year even go?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously very specialized for us for a while there, focusing on COVID response and everything that the Guard was doing, which they were busy. You know, they were helping out in testing centers. They were
getting food to
getting
kids, and
getting
all
food out, and helping support local authorities basically however we could. And then, of course, trying to figure out the whole work from home, not from home, still trying to stay ready and relevant and be ready for whatever missions, not just stateside, but overseas if they occurred. So there was a lot of work going on, top down and bottom up, you know, both directions. You know, soldiers were trying to figure out how to meet all their requirements and stay fit and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, gyms were going down. And so there was this whole new world for soldiers, airmen, of course, everybody, but specifically for what we're related to, soldiers and airmen in the South Carolina National Guard. And, you know, once again, they show that they can adapt. You know, our leadership could adapt and figure out new ways to train us and keep us safe. And we were figuring out how to meet the mission and stay safe and do all that. So it was wild. I mean, there's not a whole lot of times in your military career, or even the military as a whole, you have to deal with such a large level of adapting to a situation so quickly. Because it wasn't just another set of deployments, not to downplay any deployment, but it wasn't something we've done deployments before. We were deploying and getting people back in the middle of all this, and people being quarantined before they were leaving country, once they were back in, and then once they got home, and and a testament to, once again, to our leadership and the soldiers and airmen in the South Carolina National Guard. You know, there was bumps and humps on the way, but I felt like for the most part we did what we needed to do the best we could.
Definitely something to be put in the history book there, and not forget for how the Guard, like you said, acted.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely worth. I think it's something they'll keep notes on and see what was executed well and where we did have our hiccups, and it maybe even helped us streamline some of our processes for the future, and see that we can utilize different ways of training and education that maybe we hadn't looked into before. So, obviously it's a terrible situation with everything this year, but you always want to try to grab some good out of things, no matter how terrible it may be. And I think, the good of it is it did cause us to adapt and learn new things and kind of evolve to a certain extent. So, taking that away, I guess that's a big plus. Now, along with that, obviously the COVID response and helping out with that was a big thing. But like I said, we were still doing our regular mission sets with deployments and helping with other stateside related things if they had to come up. It wasn't like because of COVID we were going to get off hurricane season or anything like that. But we still had to maintain all the training and all the readiness relevant for the DISCA, the stateside response type missions and stuff. And once again, you gotta give props and tip your hat to those folks who did it, both leadership, like I said, top down and bottom up. It works both ways, and everybody has to be willing. And once again, being frontline type people in those situations when the civil authorities need our help, kudos to them. I mean, once again, you're leaving your families in a situation. A lot of people are having work issues and whatever else. And, we drove on and did what we needed to do. So, that's what we're here for. So I guess pat on the back to the South Carolina National Guard and what they were able to accomplish, not to stroke our own egos, but yeah, we'll stroke our own egos a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely a heck of a year.
And so, I mean, you've got that going, and then there were still drills and just the everyday stuff and the paperwork and the full-time jobs, and then making sure, the full-time staff, making sure that the M-Day soldiers had what they need, because it was a whole different, ball of wax. Once again, everything kind of flipped up and changed this year, but once again, everybody pulled themselves up by their britches and pressed the best way they could on it. So, humps and bumps, but really for everything that occurred, you can't really complain too much. I guess you got a little bit of a right to complain, but not too much.
No, you're just on the roller coaster and you're just going with it.
Yeah, and we did that. So, what else? What else did y'all take out of this year? I mean, that's obviously that was the big bulk of it or whatever, and that does make the year kind of go fast and go slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the op tempo was definitely there, responding to everything, but we work in a career field, especially on the full-time side, especially public affairs, where every day something's different normally, like go cover this, and this. We had a stretch where if it wasn't COVID related, we weren't, because that was what was eating up the bulk of our time. So anyway, what y'all got? What y'all got on this? Anything from the year outside of the COVID stuff memorable? Because we did get to go to some other trainings and events, and like I said, we had other stuff going on, so we covered other things too. It's hard to remember at this point, right?
Like sitting here thinking about, I was like, maybe I should have better prepared myself for these questions, because like thinking back, it's like, what did we do? Like, I mean, the beginning of the year we had Best Warrior, which we do every year.
Region 3.
I wasn't here for that.
We filmed that in August and all that. Yeah, it's like someone pressed fast forward.
Yeah, that was a long week for us. Yeah. But a lot of fun to the Best Warrior stuff. It was a good competition. It was really nice. I guess with the regional stuff, it was a lot of. He's got. So. Oh,
those soldiers were hurting.
So we have never talked about it before. I'm pretty brutal on them during Best Warrior competition. We put in a fair amount of hours, and of course, it's not always pleasant to work with me during that time frame, but I always tell them thank you and take care of them afterwards. But during that week can be kind of rough because we're pushing against the timeline, and we're out there pretty much all day with the soldiers just as they do their events. We don't do our processing and things like that until in the afternoon, and then we tried to deliver a product the day of the award ceremony on the event, so we have a fairly long night.
Fairly, yeah.
We work a couple extra hours the night before in order to get the video done.
Yeah, just a couple, yeah. It turned out good.
Yeah, it turned out good. I think everybody enjoyed it and stuff, and so it's actually a really good event for public affairs people to go. I maybe push a little harder than what's required for that event, but it is actually really nice because they do a good job having a lot of stuff out there to interact with, and you can practice and be creative, and there's news stories there, and there's all kinds of stuff to kind of pull from that event. And I won't say it's a no pressure event, but it is. It's not.
It is to an extent, especially with you.
Right. But it it's not a live active like hurricane event or something where we're pushing, hard news. So you get a little bit more play with it. So yeah, the Best Warrior was a memorable thing. That might be a good or bad memorable thing, but it was a memorable thing.
Didn't you cover something over at Fort Jackson with like the engineers or something like that?
Did I do the engineers?
You took some photos over in May, like with something to do with the mines and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I got to go out. Fort Jackson called out our engineering folks to help clear one of their grenade areas, grenade pits or whatever, which is pretty cool. Didn't realize it, but it's a remote control drone type device or whatever, and I got to go out there, and that was actually the first time I'd seen that in my career, which was kind of wild and unique. Big flailing thrasher thing that just throws dirt. Now, aviation, you've got to go do a couple aviation things this year, yeah?
I feel like
I'm having to dig back.
I feel like some of them, the most recent ones, might have gotten canceled due to weather and stuff.
Oh yeah, it did get canceled due to weather, but would have been awesome.
Would have been awesome. Yeah. Now, have you had the opportunity to get on the helicopters yet?
Oh yeah, been a couple times. Was able to the USC ROTC went out there to go at McIntyre to go check it all out, and rode on there, and they do flips and all that stuff, and all you hear is ROTC cadets yelling and all that stuff. And I'm laughing. It's funny, but no, I got to go over to the stadium and all that. It's really cool.
Yeah. So see, there was good and interesting things that happened this year. And like I said, we were busy outside of just the COVID response. Not to say that it didn't eat up a mass amount of time. So another big thing that y'all have had to do this year is once again back to my retirement and stuff. These two will take over and run the studio and push the podcast further and better, and they will do a much better job than what I've done in my time here. But y'all have gotten education. Is that the right word?
I feel like our workflow has increased a little bit.
Yeah.
Learning things that we didn't expect we needed to learn or understood.
Yeah. And so I am going to take this point because I think a lot of people, there is a large group of my age people, I guess, and time frame, and they're getting out for different reasons and stuff. And I'm going to jump on a soapbox real quick. Leaving this year and heading into the next year, as you have soldiers and stuff, if you're moving on, you need to make sure you take the time to prepare them the best that they can. I feel like a lot of times people leave slots and jobs inside the Guard, and then they take whatever information they had, or they don't have things written down, and the person that comes in behind them has to reinvent the wheel. Not to say that they can't improve upon the wheel, make it more efficient, which hopefully they do. I would expect them to take this studio to a much higher level than what I had it while I was here. That's the whole purpose. But yeah, your leadership people, your people with education and stuff like that are moving on. You need to make a concerted effort to make sure the person you're leaving behind, or people you're leaving behind, feel comfortable and sure with their job. And that's what I'll be doing. I guess that's my transition piece that I'm focusing on as I move out between 2020 and headed into 2021, is making sure everything's shored up here and that they feel comfortable, that when I leave, people are like, Erskine who? And if that happens, then I've done my job, and if that doesn't happen, then I've failed at doing my job. So hopefully we'll succeed with that. So yeah, with 2020 being what it is, what are you looking forward to transitioning to in the next year? I mean, obviously the COVID stuff hasn't gone away, but we'll still be working and dealing with that, and the guard will be. But you know, we do have another Best Warrior competition.
Oh my
coming.
gosh!
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So you know, we got that, but
You'll be there, right?
what? No,
He'll be there for moral support.
I'll be there if I'm asked to be there. So, but anyway, what y'all got going? What's your transition? You know, when you have a rough year like this, you gotta, whether it's realistic or not, you always have something that you're looking forward to going into the next year.
I mean, I'm looking forward to maybe starting new projects. There's some things that we've talked about in the past that we really haven't implemented yet. And I guess with COVID and everything, and Andrews and I were both on orders for a couple months. I can't speak for him, but for me at least, it kind of felt like we were stuck in this rut because every day it was like, we're going to a testing site, that's what our job is, to cover what's going on in the guard, what our soldiers are doing and stuff in the communities. But it was just repetitive, and it was like we were doing the same thing every day. And then it got to a point where the tempo was slowing down and we really weren't doing anything. And it was like, but we couldn't get back into the swing of things because we were still in that weird phase of like, what to cover, when to cover it, who can come in and get on the podcast or these videos. And it was just, I'm just really looking forward to starting these new projects that we've been talking about, new videos, getting more people in the studio and on the podcast. And like you said, making it better than what it was. Because when we started this, and even all the other stuff we do, it was just, we didn't have anything to go from. We did our research, we did what we thought we should do, and we ran with it. And I mean, you can look in past videos. We started out with 2 boom mics, I guess you could say, at a table, and no backdrop, to like an actual set. And I mean, there's still things that we want to do to improve it, and just with time and learning. And I mean, the technology changes all the time. We talked about that several times with our career field, but just making things better and leaving them better when we leave for those who come in behind us, and like you're doing with us. So I'm really excited for that, and just to get into like the rhythm of constantly going out and covering stuff, not sitting in the office just editing or not really having anything to do, and we're like doing with equipment and all that. Like I want to get out and test the new stuff that we have. Like we really haven't been able to do that like we've been trying, and try new things, being creative, thinking outside the box, not having everything so cookie cutter and the same across the board. And just when people go to our social media and our YouTube and stuff, like they know it's the South Carolina National Guard. It's not just some video that's been posted and it's about the military, like just that kind of stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been so crazy. Like, and I know everybody always says with a new year, like, I'm ready for new things and all that. But, I mean, you always want the next year to be better than the year before. So,
I don't know. I had a couple good years in the 90s. I think I'd take those back in a heartbeat at this point in time.
Well,
I think there's anything you can build off from this year. I mean, there's a lot to build off of.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot, sorry to interrupt, but we got new computers, some new gear that we're testing out, and make our productivity and putting out products and all that a whole lot faster. And for next year, I mean, to get out of this rut, I mean, anything's better now. I mean, just to get out of the first half of the year, I mean, anything other than that, I mean, it's a whole lot better. So now that things are getting back in the swing of things, I look forward to filming and taking photos and creating content with all the events coming up.
Yeah, so y'all both kind of mentioned a rut, and so people kind of understand is, we do cover similar things. Like there's always homecomings to cover, there's always ATs to cover and stuff like that. We'd usually have the opportunity through the year to do to innovate something. That's how the podcast came around anyway. We were doing short format videos and stuff, and Baker said, let's look at this podcast thing. And so usually during the year, we try to interject some new type of of product or try something new, and we didn't get to do that this year. We just because, like I said, we were steady and we were in kind of this which was justified push for COVID coverage and everything else that was going on. But typically we have the opportunity through the year to innovate some new type of product or evolve a current product. And that didn't happen this year, which is maybe the first time in a while that we haven't pushed something a little bit further, a little bit better, or improve something or whatever. And there was, going into the first of the year, there was a mass amount of projects that we kind of had slated up that we wanted to.
Not only that, but we were doing the
31-day video challenge. 31-day video challenge when all this.
And that literally just stopped in the middle of it, right. And we didn't get to finish that. But
and that was the thing is, along with that 31-day video challenge, it was one to see if we could do it, if we could handle that level of workload, but also we were doing a lot of different segments. And oddly enough, I'll bring it up because I was just floored at how well the video did and the format and stuff like that. But we did a how-to video on PMCSing Humvees, and it got astronomical amount of views in a short period of time. At least for our standards, it was in the couple thousands or whatever, which says that that's a video format that we should be potentially looking at for our viewers and our listeners and stuff like that. We haven't had a chance yet to refine it and go back into it. So hopefully, once again, some of the new projects getting out and doing more stuff, that's something we're looking forward to. 2021 is some more how-to videos, and hopefully we can get that rolling.
Now that you mentioned that, I remember stuff that we did. So one thing that I thought was really cool, because we had talked about it since maybe last year or when I started working with you in the studio, was doing PSAs. And whenever you go to school for public affairs, you learn how to do that on the video side. And it just makes putting out the information so much more enjoyable, whatever the topic is, because you have something visual and creative to do with that. So this year we were able to do a couple PSAs, which were awesome because it allowed us to shoot things we normally don't shoot, learn how to edit different ways and with different techniques, and get a product that looks, I feel like they turned out pretty well. Something maybe that you would see on a commercial. I don't know, you're looking at me funny like you're talking crazy.
No, they did turn out good. There's always room to improve.
Yeah, exactly. We learned from it and all that, but the quality for us and that being a first time we did that, I thought it was really good.
I agree with that. I'll go with that.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that. For a first time,
and the planning for it, because we don't just come into work one day and it's like, hey, we're gonna shoot this. We have to sit down and come up with a timeline, come up with stuff people are gonna say and scripts or whatever, or we have to think of scenes. So it's kind of like a mini production.
Yeah.
And then having people from the outside world come in to be a part of that, and they see what we do and how we do our job and how we piece it together in the end. It just blew them away that we're able to do stuff like that. So that was a fun part of this year as well.
Yeah, and it makes a nice product for those sections or individuals too, because they're easily digestible. They can throw it on Facebook. They can save them. They can reuse them, whatever.
They can play them in the unit.
So there's a lot of versatility to them, and I think that's always been a push and a goal of the studio, is to keep coming up with products that help everybody else, do their job and flow information and stuff like that. So, yeah, we did do a few of those this year. They turned out pretty good.
Hopefully we can come up with some more. So this is my plug right now. So if you are listening or watching and there's something that you want us to shoot, please send us a comment. Message us on Facebook. We checked out. Well, we don't check that, but our boss checks that all the time. Someone checks it. So if you ask a question, hey, this would be a good video, a good podcast, or whatever, we will hear about it, because we want to create the stuff that you guys want to watch and listen to, not just stuff that we're thinking about. Because there's so many different topics and subjects out there that we aren't going to think of off the top of our head, because we're full-time staff. M-Day and it all gets blended into one for us, and so we're not thinking like an M-Day soldier of topics that they would like to see or know more about.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, with that being said, the caveat is, as you know, always ask for the video. It doesn't mean you always get a yes, because workload, mission dictates relevance of the topic and stuff like that. But by all means, ask. You know, we can't do it if we don't know about it.
Exactly.
We got to know about it first, then we can look at doing something with it.
And we need time to do it. If it's something that's like it's a timely thing, like we need at least 30 to 60 days.
Yeah,
don't just say, hey, this
before.
is good.
We'd like a documentary done, and we need it done by tomorrow. That's not going to happen. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff to look forward going into 2021. I mean, it's never not a busy year for the Guard. Next year will be busy too. It might just be busy in a different way.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which is fine. That's what we get paid to do. We get paid to be busy. We don't get paid not to be busy.
Busy makes the time go by.
And I'll tell you this too. This is something I noticed, and this is a nod to the citizens of South Carolina, especially. They've just been awesome this past year. Really have been. I mean, they're awesome every year, but so many thanks and whatever if I'm out in uniform. Not that I'm fishing for thanks or anything like that, but just constant thanks, and they actually do really appreciate us. I know sometimes it can be a little rough being in the military, and the whole why am I doing this and whatever else, and that whole conversation or whatever. But you run into individuals on the street and citizens and people in South Carolina, prior military and whatever else, and they're always very appreciative of us and what we do, which means we're doing obviously a pretty decent job. So yeah, once again, thanks to the citizens of South Carolina for y'all's support.
Yeah, and to close this out, I would definitely like to say thank you for all your words of wisdom and encouragement through the years of working with you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And we're going to be super sad when you leave, but I know that you're just a phone call away.
Yeah. All phone numbers and emails will be changed upon exiting the building.
Yeah, you say that, but you'll probably be calling us more than, hey, what's going on? What are you doing?
Or you'll be commenting.
That's what's going to happen. I'm going to be critiquing your stuff. I'm like, I cannot believe y'all put that out. What are you doing?
Yeah. But anyways, thank you guys for watching and listening. We hope to get some input from everybody out there. And Specialist Erskine, hopefully we'll have you on the podcast one more time before you actually exit for the last time.
Yeah.
And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And we will catch you guys in the next episode.